Welcome to a very exciting burst episode of the PWHL podcast, and I've been waiting for quite some time to do this show. Today we're going to be going through a article that appeared online around about during the it was actually during the World Cup playoffs, and I had it was the finals. It was the of course, yeah. Oh, you've still not recovered from jet lag. It's been, 3 weeks now? Yeah, 3 weeks now. I actually do still feel quite exhausted and very dehydrated. What did the Philadelphians put on their food? Alright. That has made me so thirsty, still am. I've never had that problem in San Jose, so please, when we go to Minnesota, let's not have that problem either. See a West Coast, East Coast thing? Anyway. Okay, yeah, so thank you guys. This is why you guys are here. You need to remind me in case like this. So yeah, so this came during the World Cup files, and I had a quick skim through it. I thought, right, I'll go more depth to it when we've had the files done and dusted. So, and of course, obviously, with expansion now in the forefront of our minds, it's taken quite some time to now get this done. But I'm very excited. I've got it loaded on my phone, so I'm going to read it bit by bit. We can just talk about it later. Yeah. Okay, so this was on Associated Press, and I found it on the box score. That's a brilliant app, by the way. You can go download that from where you get your from whatever apps you got, whether it's Google or Apple, or let me on Samsung's Android. Yeah, so that'd be Play Store, Apple, obviously the Apple Store. Thank you. So, right, so I'll go read through the book, we'll pause for various bits, talk about it. So, PWHL plans further expansion, eyes 2026 Olympics to broaden reach in Europe. So, as impressive as PWHL's growth has been less than 2 years since its launch, with the league blowing past initial attendance and revenue projections, and already into its first phase of expansion. Stan Caston says you've seen nothing yet. Well, you couldn't be more wrong. We could be more right there. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's incredible how we've achieved so much in just 2 years, and yet the best is still to come. Especially if we've got expansion teams literally coming in the fall. We are coming in the midst of the expansion process. Yep. We're about to have our first expansion draft. We're recording this literally 4 days before the expansion draft. We're about to have that happen. Yeah. It's just, like I said, we've achieved so much already, and yet there's still so much more that can be done. It's just about working out how we're going to go about doing that. Yeah. That's it. Because if we go back to when... Should we go back to Knuckle Drag? Because that was right about when you... Right. Oh, yeah, sorry. No, free agency you do it. If we go back to when the free agency sites were made, and that's when Pluto then got on board, so that would be back in September 2023. And I think any of us would have predicted the league would be where it is now, with literally sold out barns in all but one of the inaugural 6 markets, and you know which market that is we're referring to. Engagements on social media. Records being smashed for attendance. Merchandise sales going through the roof. Well, for US and Canada, because obviously we Brits can't have that. How's Ready Etsy Rebel going? I've literally just started that. So we'll see how that goes. So it's been incredible. And yeah, I don't think I ever saw that coming. I don't think we expect the growth to have been literally this quick. Now, it would have been more like a 5-year, 7-year path. Yeah. What you were saying last year, I don't think expansion will happen until maybe year 5 at least. How wrong was I? Yeah, how wrong was I? Yeah. But it's been incredible how this league has grown so quickly, but there is still so much more that can be done. It's incredible. So the League's Advisory Board member laid out an ambitious vision of the PWHL's future during a phone interview with the Associated Press. Oh, need to expand the article. Already done that. Caston foresees further expansion beyond the recent editions of Vancouver and Seattle. I love how the article has put Vancouver first over Seattle, because obviously that's what I've been doing. Well, I've been referencing both on the show, on our show, because Vancouver was announced first over Seattle. When they both get names and brands, that's when I'll start putting them more into the alphabetical order. Yeah, and of course you didn't bring that up on a recent episode. Why was I doing that? Yeah, well, there you go. But so love how the article's actually done what I've done, which is go Vancouver first, then Seattle, because that's how it actually did went down back in end of April. Yeah. So the recent additions of Vancouver and Seattle to grow the PWHL to 8 teams. Within the next few years, the league capitalizing on the 2026 Milan Winter Games to broaden its reach internationally and the prospect of turning a profit by 2031. That'll be when the league's current CBA will need to be up for renegotiations. I don't see that being an issue right now. No, that'll be fine. So here's what Castin said. By every measure, we're ahead of where we thought we would be. Absolutely, yeah. And we never thought we were going to be this niche 6-team league in the northeast of North America. Nah, which is good. I remember a lot of people were thinking, like, why go Vancouver first? And it's like, well, we can't be... And I kept saying, you need to broaden out to that West Coast eventually, because obviously we can't be the only West Coast team. Now, we need more West Coast teams. Ideally, we need more central-based teams like Denver, St. Louis, Chicago. And in the next expansion, I will be pushing for those 3 markets, because I think we need... Wait, with Chicago? Well, Chicago did get mentioned a lot last year, along with Seattle as potential markets with Pittsburgh. So I'm thinking, well, if Chicago's considered potential, then let's look at bringing them in. We need more central-based teams, and I think Denver, St. Louis, should be given a look in, because they've got takeover talk experience, but also Chicago as well. I think it would work. They aren't that far from Minnesota, so it would be helpful. Yeah. He says that because you're like probably thinking, oh no, not another Blackhawks, not another Blackhawks. Yes, I mean, I well, us 3 basically before taking this all shifted from advocate for Detroit, and we're like, well, Detroit can come at any time. What we need is get these West Coast markets set up now, because it's going to happen sooner rather than later, and strike while the iron's hot, especially how you had Seattle, Vancouver, Denver, St. Louis, and Edmonton hosting Takeover Tours this season. So the league knew it had to go west eventually before they do it now that it's hot. But yeah. I know I just mentioned that during last season when some people were in the YouTube chats were saying about, oh, they think this place should get a team, that's good. So I was kind of thinking it might take 5 years at least before we can start talking expansion. Because you need to use this time to get the inaugural 6 markets established and viable and working, and then you can start looking at expanding elsewhere. But the fact that he's going to go for it now in year 3 is actually quite brilliant. And I love how it just reiterates basically what we all kind of feel is how we never thought we would be where we are now. We always thought we would get to where we are eventually, but not this quick. Not this quick. Which kind of led the door open to expand now, rather than do it in like 2 or 3 years later. Absolutely. Okay, so I'll carry on. So here's what you then said further. Our manifest destiny is a lot more than 6. It's a lot more than 8. I don't know how many, he added. My point is, we're going to be a league like every other real major league, and that's our goal. We're going to be spread. Our footprint will be across this continent and hopefully others as well. Yeah, that basically is what the goal I have for this league is, that one day it just basically becomes like any other sports league, and you don't have people questioning, there's a professional hockey league for women? Never knew that. That is for me ultimately what I want this league to be one day. When the time comes and for me to pass on to the next plane. I know we're going morbid now. Please bear with me. I will have a point. But when the time comes for me to move on to that next plane, I want to be able to, with regards to the PWHL, I want to be able to know it is in safe hands, because I've been with this from the very beginning. Yeah, the moment it was announced back in August 2023, I've been with this from the very beginning. I want to know this is in safe hands, and I want it also to be seen as, yeah, it's just like any other sports league, like the AHL, like MLB, like the NFL or NBA, yeah, NBA, MSL, yeah. Those are the major sports leagues that had to start small but have grown to well-established, well-recognised organisations. Some for the best, some for the worst. That is ultimately what I want the PHL to be, where it's basically, it's just like any other sports league, and you don't question why it's there, or like, seriously, that exists? That's kind of where I want to be. We are nowhere near there yet. No, we are nowhere near there. That's probably going to be for maybe 30 years' time. Yeah. At least, yeah. Probably a lot of these players will have banners up in the rafters. Yeah. But yeah, but when the time comes, I want to be able to know that this league is going to be in safe hands, and because I care about it so much, and I want to one day people to basically just not have to go, really? This league exists? I never knew that. Yeah. Because obviously right now my job is, as an advocate, my job is to basically sit people down, tell them the history about the league, give you the information you need, so tell you how you can access it, show them the YouTube channels, show them Drox and Gels. Now once you've got that information, that is then over to you to basically go, right, do you want to be involved in it or not? Yeah. So, yeah, but ultimately, my goal for this league is it one day to become such an established league where no one's questioning why it's here. They just go, oh yeah, that's PWHL. Like how, that's the AHL. Oh yeah, that's the NFL. Oh yeah, that's the NBA. You know what I mean? Yeah, good, thank you. Good. Yeah. And I love how he said that I don't know how many it's going to be, because obviously that is a question we can never answer. We can have conversations of how many teams we think should be in the league and should there be a cap on it. Well, there should be a cap in the AHL. But we don't know what the right number is going to be. I've been saying a lot the last few weeks. I've been saying this league can, at the very least, get to 12. Yeah. The question is that going to be through two more expansion rounds, or can you go for one massive one in terms of 4? I don't know. I think this league can at very least get to 12. I think that would be a good minimum number to have. After that, that would be when you then stagger out any further expansions. Yeah. And given how brutal this first expansion process has already been, the less we can go through it, probably the better. Well, I imagine the league will probably use this expansion process to learn for the future. Because if we're going to have more teams coming into the league thick and fast, you're going to have to work out what is the right expansion process. And maybe this isn't it, what they've used for this first round. Maybe this isn't it. But we're trying it, we're testing it out, and we're going to see what works. So I would not surprise me if we get to see various different variations of the expansion rules, depending on what each previous expansion process works. Yeah. Yeah. I remember did say to you guys, I saw something after Seattle, I saw an article where it said the league wants to go to 10 teams for 26-27. And I was like, really? Where was that? Yeah. I had to show you that. And I was like, would this time next year be too quick? Maybe. But it depends what the league is going to be when we get to Blanc Cortina. If by the time we get to Blanc Cortina, so that'll be in February. That's February the 6th opening ceremony. If by the time we get to February the 6th next year, and the league is in a position where it can have at least 2 more teams, then I don't think that there's anything to stop the league from going for it. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if actually that would be for 27-28. Yeah, I think 27-28 would be better. I think have at least 2 full seasons with 8 teams, like we had 2 full seasons with 6 teams, and then you go 27-28. That would be when the next expansion draft happens, and it would be given teams a time to learn from the last one. Yeah, because if we go for another expansion draft this time next year, not many teams are going to learn from the last time. Plus, would you have Vancouver and Seattle be part of it, given how they've literally just joined? Yeah. 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 Obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on that. Expansion's what we're going to keep an eye out for, because literally the league could at any point announce they're going to start the process again. Yeah, and you have to be with it, because there was a lot of markets that missed out. I heard there was at least 25 markets that was in the conversation this first round. So there's definitely interest. It's just going to be how the league goes about that. Yeah. So a bit more about expansion plans. So without making a firm commitment, Caston said there was enough interest for major markets that missed out on expansion this year to add even more teams by 2026-27. He said the league will have a better timeline on the next expansion phase based on how smoothly Vancouver and Seattle are incorporated. Yeah. Can I just finish this paragraph and then you can come back to that? Yeah, good, Mickey. It's just short. I'll know. It's basically what we just said. I'll know by mid-season. So that probably will be Milan. Yeah, probably Milan. I'll know by mid-season what I think we should do, and we'll go from there. He said. I don't know if it's the year after, so that's 26-27, or the after that, which would be 27-28. But I think it'll be sooner than most people ever imagined. Absolutely. It's definitely more sooner than I imagined, because I was saying year 5 at the earliest to look at it. Not year 3. Yeah. So, go on, lady. Yeah, I was basically going to say that just basically reiterates what I saw after Seattle was announced, that the league would like to get to at least 10 by 26-27, but is that doable? And would it be wise, given how you literally had an expansion draft this year, what would you then do next year? Would you then put, as I said, would you put Vancouver and Seattle in? Do you look at changing the rules to make it fairer? While still getting these new teams competitive? We don't know. But, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if during next season we get expansion news again, because, as you said, there are a lot of interesting markets out there. And who knows, the league could be in a position to expand again. Who knows? It could be so quick. I mean, if you go back to the AHL, literally a few months into the Golden Knights' first season, the group in Seattle already put their submission in. And I remember that at the time, because Vegas were it was about Christmas, wasn't it, 2017? Yeah, it was about going to Christmas 2017. Vegas were a few months old, and already the league has said it's opened the process again to look into a group in from Seattle. I was like, what? Yeah. So, don't be surprised if when we get to, say, January, end of January, early February next year, don't be surprised if the league says we've opened the expansion process again, because like, don't be surprised. Yeah. I think they're going to want to see how Vancouver and Seattle do. So those first few, we've already said those first few weeks of next season is going to be so critical, because not only have you got 2 new teams joining the league, you've also got to see how do the inaugural 6 cope now that they've lost 4 players each. Yeah, those first few weeks are going to be so exciting and so thrilling to watch. I'm so glad we've now decided to up our coverage. We're upping our coverage next year. We're going to be watching more games than we've ever have done in these last 2 seasons. We're really excited for that. Yeah, we are really excited to be upping our coverage here. We feel the time is right to now do that. Those first few weeks of year 3 is going to be so entertaining to watch on so many different levels and for so many different reasons. Yeah, but watch out how Seattle Vancouver do in terms of transition, and that might then give a judgment as to how expansion be. Would you want it to be again this time next year? Would you want it to be that quickly done? I think it all depends on what's the right thing for the league. If the right thing for the league is to add 2 more teams this next year, then fine, do it. If not, then definitely the year after. Okay. Right, here's when my alarm bells went ringing. Where it then gone to an article, Eyes on Europe. So, what's clearer is the league turning its focus towards Europe to coincide with the Olympics and a women's hockey tournament, predominantly featuring PWHL talent. Now, we don't know yet if we got confirmation the PWHL is going to send its players to the Olympics or not, but given how Harry and I indicated that she is going to be Well, she's indicated that the next Olympics is her last. Yeah. And that's now said now that's now studying. Oh, she's going to retire full stop. No, she's not. She's not, Boston. She's not. Because us three believe that was a key factor why she didn't get protected by the Fleet. And oh look, she's now gone to Seattle. Bad move, Fleet. Bad move. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Where are we? It's been another time. Yeah, that's been another time. But I do think the PHL is going to have an Olympic break. The question is, will they then do a World Championships break as well? We don't know, but it does sound like the PHL will have an Olympic break. Yeah. Plus, I've got big plans for how to promote the PHL during the Olympics. I've got big plans I'm trying to work out. Yeah. Yeah. You're basically going to do the BBC's job for them. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I'm not pleased with how they do it, I'm going to be on the BBC like a dog on a bone. No offense. None taken. Right. So here's what Cassian said. Cassian said there have been discussions about playing exhibition games in Europe within the next 2 years, as well as building ties with European leagues for developmental purposes, and even of one day establishing teams there. Really? No. I can see them doing what the AFL does, which is you have a couple of regular season games be played over here. Yeah. Because the AFL has actually got quite a big following here in the UK, despite the dreadful start times. Not that I know if I've actually watched the AFL. But I do know that the AFL has got a big following here in the UK. They always do like to play regular season games in London. I think they're going to be doing more in Dublin this year, which is a completely different country. But anyway, so I know the AFL's got a big footing here. Ideally, that's what I would like to see the PHL do in Euro, which is they basically get a big following where they then play various regular season games over here, exhibition games, and do what the AFL with the Global Series. Yeah. And the league did say before the start of this season, they said they want to look at doing an outdoor game, they want to look at doing European games, they want to look at doing expansion. Yes, and since the season got away, the other two were kind of, put on the back burner as many focus on getting expansion, which I think was kind of right, because that's the key thing to get done. Once that was done, it's fucking right. So, and the fact they brought up again was like, oh my god, you're teasing me. And, you are literally teasing me, because I would do it. Would do it. We've said various times on the show, if the PHL decided to come to Europe, I would do it. I would go. Yeah. I would turn it into a working holiday. Lady said blog it, which we'll do. I would get whatever blogging equipment I need. Blogging is the one thing I've not done yet in terms of content creation. It's something I should look into, but we would basically turn it to a working holiday. We can maybe recording we could look at maybe doing a live episode of Purple Rain from the actual event. Yeah. So if the PHL ever goes to Europe, I will do it. And as you've said, we found a sports scene that makes George want to travel. Yep. So it's like, you're really teasing me with this now. It's like, come on, just get it done. just get it done. Just say you're going to come to Europe, say where it is, who's going, right, get me passport. And can I just clarify, it would be regardless who gets chosen. Yeah, ideally, we would love the Frost to come to Europe, but if it was to other teams, we would do it. It doesn't matter which teams get to go, we would go. Yeah. So, yeah. But as to how many teams actually in Europe? No. Not unless you had a European division. But then that would have, but then that would have a knock-on effect on getting players to go to see teams in North America. No, I'm not too ambitious. Just concentrate on exhibition games. Don't try and think about putting teams actually in Europe, because that does not work. No, it doesn't work. No matter what sport it is, it just doesn't work. Just focus on trying to go the exhibition route and leave it at that. Yeah. And as long as the league continues having YouTube for the stream to stream the games, you've got. How do you feel about them using the Olympics next year too? I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. If it was any other sports league that was going to try and use the Olympics to grow their market, I'd be like, no, get fucked. But because I know the PHL are very much adamant to grow this game, to grow women's hockey, I'm about it. Because technically we're going to be doing this next year. During the Olympics, we're going to come up with content regarding the PHL for people to see during Milan Cortina. Yeah. We're going to be keeping an eye on. We're going to put a lot of content we can do to try out that as well. Yeah. Okay. So we're technically already going to do this anyway. We're already going to we the publisher are going to use the Olympics to try and help grow the PHL's awareness. Regardless, there might just be Europe. So I'm on it. Plus, you look at the groups, and there's only really 3 teams that are not in Europe. Because you've got the US, Canada, and Japan, and then the rest, I believe, are all Europe. We actually need to do an update on that because there has now been an update regarding what's happening with the last spot. Yep. So we need to get an episode on that done. Okay, that'll get done. Will be done shortly. No, I'm totally fine with the PHL using the Milan Cortina Olympics next year, or just use Olympics full stop to promote this league. Absolutely, because how else are you gonna do it? It's the biggest stage of the other sports. Surely you should be using it for opportunities to how to get people aware about other sports leagues. Yeah, absolutely. The Winter Olympics should be used an opportunity to help get people more aware about particular sports that you might not get to see every day. Yeah, that's what they should be used for. So I've got no problem with that. Use it. Use the Olympics to your advantage. That's no problem. Any other sports league? No. So I'll carry on with what he said. So he then went on to say, Europe is a big part of our future. I think our presence on the international stage next year is going to be really well timed. A proportionate step for us, he added. We think the period before the Olympics, during the Olympics, and after the Olympics are very important to the next stage of our development. He also mentioned about attendance, which I'll get to remember. Do you want to say anything more about that before we move on to the attendance jumps? I think establishing your football year is going to be so important. I think that's what you should spend next season focusing on. So when do you think we could get the exhibition games? Not this season. Not this season coming up now. I would not be surprised if they used Milan Cortina to test which markets would work. So basically see which countries are watching these games, which countries are engaging, who's got the biggest engagements, and target them. Yeah. And I would not be surprised if, say, September or October in 2026, there'll be exhibition games, and we go. Okay, so you think the exhibition games could come as early as the fall of 2026? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's too late to work it out now. I think now, especially if they're focused on expansion this year, I think it'd be looking more too late. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that going forward. But like we said, PHL, as soon as you announce an exhibition game in Europe, no matter where it is in the continent, no matter the team's going to be playing, we will go. Okay, so just bear in mind. Right, now going on to attendance jumps. So, the PHL is closing its second season, which featured jumps in attendance, revenues, sponsorships, and goal scoring from 4.8 to 5.02 per outing over the inaugural season. Average attendance rose from 5,448 per contest Sorry, I did that part again, I made it wrong. Average attendance rose from, that's what I meant to say. Average attendance rose from 5,448 per contest last year to 7,260 this year, mainly due in part to the 9 neutral site games off the part of the second tour during a combined 123,601 bands. Attendance in Toronto and Montreal jumped, with both teams playing in larger venues. Yeah, because obviously last year Montreal split. I can't remember what it was, but they split games between Place Belle and Larbour, and it was somewhere else, but I can't remember where it was. Yeah, it's Montreal split. Toronto last year played all of their games in the Massnet Athletic Centre, which was too small. Yeah, too small. And then every time Minnesota went to Toronto for a road games, I thought, that barn is too small. Especially how they're going to be considered a playoff contender, Toronto. Yeah, that's too small. It was too small. So, when they announced before last year, was going to go across the playoffs, I was like, oh, thank God for that. Because that's more manageable. Because I know Brixby's could obviously not be the Toronto Marlies being in the AHL. And so the fact that they were able to move to their full time, brilliant. And that's seen. Because in Toronto it sells like hotcakes. Yeah. I think when we get to our road trip, I think Toronto's going to have to be the first stop because it'll be hard to get a ticket there. Well, we'll go workshop that. We'll go workshop that. That's obviously not for now. That's been for maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah, but no surprise they saw it. Of course, Montreal drew about 10,000 per game. Yeah. Even during that night when they had to face the Four Nations. Yes, because one of Montreal's home games was happening during the Four Nations, yet they still got 10,000 people in. I believe that was against the New York Sirens. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So they saw jumps there. Minnesota and Iowa had slight drops in average turnout. When not including their designated home neutral site games. I thought, did not have the one though? Was that? Or were they? I don't know. I can't work it out. But I don't think Ottawa was the home team for many of the Takeover Tour games. They definitely weren't for Raleigh, because that was us. Yep. They weren't for St. Louis, because that was Boston. Alright, doesn't matter. This won't surprise you, lady. Turnout continues to lag in New York, where the Sirens finished last in the standings for a second straight year, while averaging a league low 2,764 fans per game, up from 2,496 last year at the AHL Devils home, the Prudential Centre. So, well, what more do I need to say? What more do I need to say? Get yourself sorted. Yeah, the Sirens have got to sort that out because I do not want to ever one day see a relocation happen. If there's one league where I do not want to see relocation happen, it's PWHL. Okay. The Sirens have got a good team, it's just the fans are not coming out. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't like last year, you know, where one of those games only had like, I think it was like 700 people, so. But it's still okay. They've got 1,500 at least for each game, but still, it's not what you should be. It's nowhere near what others have been averaging. We've been saying you should get at least 6,000 minimum per game. Yeah. Because every barn has got the potential to do that. Even Vancouver Seattle, who are joining next year. Anyway, without providing exact figures, Executive Vice President of Business Operations Amy Shaw said the league sponsorships grew by 50% and merchandising sales doubled, helped by the PWHL unveiling logos and nicknames for its 6 teams this season. Still haven't got your international shipping sorted. I mean, come on! I mean, it was fine last year, but we didn't have any brands or names, and even temporary we'd have on. But this year, there should have been no excuses this year to not get international shipping done because you've now got names, you've now got brands. It's like, come on, yeah, come on. I know. So, unfortunately, we are now in the off season. International shipping is still not a thing, so I'm now having to go on Redbubble and Etsy and raise them to try and get some form of PWHL merch, so that going forward here we can have that on the shows. Yeah. Because I will go out in the streets of Manchester representing the PWHL gear, and Now people come up to me and say, what the hell is that? Yeah, because come on, I've always believed that fans are your best former ambassadors, because we show up for games, we dedicate our time to our team, we wear the merch, so we're basically ambassadors. So if somebody was to go, so if somebody out in Manchester was to see me in PHL gear, they've got no clue what that is. I'd love to come up to me and go, what the hell is that? Then that's another person I can then talk to. We can have a quick chat in the Arndale. Yeah, over a coffee. I can then, with a cake, I can then tell you all about it. Right? Because I want to represent both my team and this league out on the streets of Manchester. How can I do that if you're not going to provide international shipping? Right? So it's like, you're missing out. Yeah, you're missing out on tapping into that international market, and you're also missing out on opportunity to get more fans in. Because if people who don't know about this league see people with gear on, they're gonna go, what is that? Yeah, come up to me, let's have a chat. I'll tell you what you need to know about it, and then you can decide if you want to get involved or not. It's like, come on! The conversation starter is there. You just need to provide it. Do we think by the year 3 will be sorted? Probably not. Probably not. Yet they're going to have 2 more teams. Yeah, but that's the only problem I've got so far with the PHI is merchandising. Is that you do not do international shipping. So get that sorted. Because unfortunately, over the next few weeks, I'm going to be ready everything available to see what is available and what could be doable. Yeah. Anyway. Anywho. I'm gonna finish off now with this last bit. So hopeful for the future. So for casting, that doesn't take away what the league has accomplished in 23 months since being launched by his boss, LA Dodgers owner Mark Walter, and wife Kimria, and tennis icon Billie Jean King. As the PHL financial backer, Walter committed hundreds of millions of dollars as part of a long-term vision to bring together the world's top women players in one league. Caston said the initial projection for attendance was 1,000 per game for a league that in March surpassed the 1 million mark, including playoffs. He goes on to say, I see us on a very distinct upward track, able to look forward towards seasons where we can start to turn the corner and be in the black. Caston said, looking ahead to 2031. We're far away from that now, and that's okay. We projected that, he added, but when that happens, we can also think about expanding the schedule, and with an expanded schedule, in an environment where you're finally making money. Well, now there's more money for more people, and so I hope by then we're at that point. That would thrill me. Then you were supposed to, yeah, because we've all been saying we need more games. 24 was not enough last year, but it was doable given the circumstances. Yeah. This should we go to 30? Still not enough. And I remember when the schedule came out, I said to you two, right, got 6 games this year. Do we think the season's going to go longer? And all 3 of us went, no. And when you factor in the breaks for the rivalry series, international world championships, a European tournament happened just before Christmas, yeah. Which we know that European tournament is scheduled to be at least through to 2028. Oh, I know, so bear that in mind. It still didn't feel long enough. No. And I remember when it was at Seattle's announcement, they said next year's going to be 30 games. I was like, no. Because you thought this would be the perfect time to spell. Well, TNT is perfect time to look at the number of games and maybe go, do we need 4? Yes, we do. Plus, 30's not going to divide to 7. Yeah, what I've loved about this season is the number of games have been equal to the number of teams in the league, you see. Because 35 by 5 is 6. We've had 6 games against each team, 3 home, 3 road. It's not going to like next season, and it'll be interesting to see how they're going to work here, because I think we might be seeing more teams less in Minnesota than we did this year. Yeah. So that's why it's so important that we're upping our coverage, so that if we don't see a particular team enough in Minnesota, we just watch their games. Yeah. Just watch their games elsewhere. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. I think the reason the CBS says you can only be between 30 to 32. Yeah. Why don't I just go to 32? But that still would not work. That would still not work. Yeah, but 32 might be better than 30. Yeah. And I thought 32 was originally where we were going to go, because I remember we've come a long way now since then. But when the league was being announced, I remember reading somewhere that said, right, for year 1 it's going to be 24 games, and then from year 2 onwards it's going to be 32 in a more traditional hockey calendar. And clearly, something's happened since then to make it only 30. And that's really not enough. I think it would have made sense. You go, right, next year we've got 8 teams, we're going to go to 32 games, let's see how that goes. Yeah. Because I think 32 with all the other internationals would work fine. But we're not in charge of it. Yeah. So, and that I think is more a reason why we need to get more teams in the league. Because if we can get more teams in the league, it then opens the doors to getting more games on the book. Now, us three have had the fights, because they are fights, not conversations, about how many games. Are you still sticking with 40 away you go? 40! 40! No, he would. Whereas they give me more like 36. Yeah. So, well, somewhere between 36 to 40 I think is where we would like to see this go. And then if that's not enough, then you go, right, well, let's go more. Yeah. It does not need to be 82. No. Or even 72 like the AHL has. I don't think we're in a position where we can have 72. No, that'd be too much right now. At least somewhere between 36 to 40, that's probably where you should target for right now. But it's a conversation we keep having. But hopefully when more teams get out of the league will then go, right, we need to have more games, and then that would be... Yeah. Obviously, we're still in the very early stage of the league's journey. So while we're in this early stage, not many teams, we're going to have that number of games. But then when more come in... Yeah. I'm sure there's lots of things that when they did that first CBL, I'm sure there's lots of people thought, now we've on the way. Actually, no, that's not work. And that was what they look into the next one. Yeah. And number of games will probably be one of them. Yeah. Absolutely. I bet if they look back now, they'll probably a lot of people thinking, no, what we agree in the CBL actually is not working. And so, well, store that in the bank. And then we get to the next round of negotiations in what might be 5 years' time. There you go for it. Yeah. There you go for it. Yeah. Hopefully when we get to the 2030s, there will be more games. But right now, in this early stage, we are stuck with 30. Yeah. Well, in 5 years' time, we'll get more. Yeah. That's the end of the article. I'm going to publish a link to that in the episode description, so you can check it out. I thought it was a really insightful article, and unfortunately, the timing of it being published was not great because it got published during the World Cup finals. So you got to have a skim read through. Like, that could be really good. So we won't do the episode on, but after the World Cup. What did you think about that? Spy thoughts? Yeah, I thought it's a really solid article. It shows a lot of optimism for the future. Which is great to see that other people share the optimism that we've got. And it just shows that exciting times are ahead. If you think you've seen it all so far, you've not. Because there's so much potential for this league that is yet to be untapped. And I saw it from day one. I saw the potential. And we're taking the first next big step next season with expansion. That will then grow to more teams. We can't say how many. I think at least 12 should be the minimum you go for, and then after that you look at maybe stacking out it, or who knows. Because when we get to 12, we feel you should then look at maybe going to 3 rounds of World Cup playoffs. Yeah, and a quarterfinals round then. Yeah. Yeah. So it's that, and the European reach. If they can pull that off, that would just be music to my ears, because it would open, for us three as a trio, it would open a lot of opportunities that I have kept closed in the AHL. Yeah. Because the AHL has done the Global Series for years, except they keep going to the exact same places. But it's never interested me, because it's not really, because the AHL is not really a league where I can go, oh, I don't care who's going, I'll come to see anyone. No. Oh, I know, there's plenty don't come to you, you'll be like, Don't list them. Don't list them. Don't give them this airtime. Don't list them. But with the list with the PHL, the fact that we don't hate anybody, we've got no quarrels with any of our fair teams, it allows the opportunity to go, well, if they do come to you, if it's not for us, well then fine, we can just go and see that team. And loan somebody our support. Like how for the 2023 LB London series, I loaned my support to the teams that came to London. Because it was the Chicago Cubs, let's say it was Cardinals. I was not a supporter of those teams. I just went down for the love of the game. And I, for that weekend, loaned my support to those teams. And that's what I thought we could do with the European games if it's not the Frost. If it's the Frost, great. We know we've got something we can definitely root for. But if it's not the Frost, we can go, right, which of those do you think fancy rooting for that weekend? And then we just be Ori those fans for the weekend. And it could open up possibilities maybe blogging. It could open possibilities maybe doing a live show there. So the European, trying to grow the European football is going to be something I'm going to keep a very close eye on. Especially if you've got the Milan Cortina games right around the corner. We're going to be working on content to do during that as well. To try help grow there. But yeah, so it's gonna be so it just feels that just gives me so much hope, because I know the potential's there. It's just I need others to see what I see. And it's all about working out how I do that as an advocate. So obviously I've explained to you how what we're gonna do it, which is basically sit you down, have a conversation, tell you everything what you need to know. But it also needs to be. But there's other ways you can also do that. So. I just love how you've now accepted the advocate title. Well, you two call me an influencer on our second World Cup celebration stream, and I wasn't too sure if I feel that. I am more an advocate. Don't see that. So I'm a PWHL advocate. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Men. This is what you need to be when it comes to being involved in women's sports. Now, come on, I won't go that far, lady. No. Because your enthusiasm, your commitment, your passion for this league from day one has been exceptional. So, men, if you want to be involved in women's sports, this is the person you need to look up to. And if you don't want to be like me, I'll happily kick you in the balls. Got no time for haters or doubters or doom and gloomers. You can get kicked in the balls. Okay. That was such a really insightful article. It really filled me with a lot of hope and enthusiasm. And it's just great to see that other people have got to see what I can see. That was a really great episode. So there are a lot of exciting times ahead. And I think the best way to sign off is exactly what was said in the article. And that is, you've seen nothing yet.